Good morning, people. Welcome to my world of stuff. It's Friday the 4th of August 2023. Today is the day of release of The Meg 2, The Trench, the sequel to 2018's The Meg, starring Jason Statham. This one's directed by Ben Wheatley. I'm interested to see it. I like a big monster movie. Haven't seen one in the cinema for a while, so I'm going to catch up with it. My original plan was to see it today, Friday, but I can't fit it in today because I want to watch The Meg first. I haven't seen this since it came out. I saw it in the cinema. I got it on 4K. I've not got around to watching it again. So I want to give it a rewatch. Not because there's anything particularly intricate about the characters or the plot that I need to remind myself of. But if I'm watching a sequel to a film a few years after the first one, I just like to sort of get myself up to speed with characters and who they are and what the situation was. So I'm going to watch this today. And I'm going to catch up with The Meg maybe over the weekend. So this is a retro movie review. The Meg.
Two hours later.
Well, that was a very pleasant way to spend a Friday morning, I have to say. Reacquainting myself with The Meg from 2018. And I had a really good time with this film. Directed by Jon Turteltaub. It stars Jason Statham, Lee Bing, Cliff Curtis, Ruby Rose, Rainn Wilson. I think it's very easy to criticise films like this, but I think it takes a special sort of artistry to make a big, dumb, monster action film. And this is a really good example. Now, it's interesting. I know people who absolutely hate this film and detest it. One particular friend of mine really detests it with a passion. I remember when it came out, he was really opposed to it. Rewatching it now, because as I said, so I'll just bring the camera down a little bit, because the new one is just out. I just wanted to reacquaint myself with the world of The Meg. And it was just great fun. It's a really well-crafted film. It looks great. I mean, Jon Turteltaub is a very experienced director, and he handles the requirements of the script and the action sequences extremely well. It's very exciting. It's very tense. There's some great underwater sequences. There's some great monster stuff. All in all, it's a really good example of a modern action monster film. It's very hard to criticise it for being what it is. The story basically starts off with Jason Statham's character, Jonas, is part of a rescue team, sort of a submarine rescue team. They go down to rescue the crew of a stricken submarine. But as they're carrying out the rescue mission, something approaches in the water, something monstrous. Jason Statham's character, Jonas, I keep saying that, he's the only one who seems to see whatever it is that's out there. During the course of the rescue mission, unfortunately, they're not able to rescue everybody. And the submarine they're trying to rescue explodes. He's hauled over the coals for apparently being a coward, putting himself first. But as he points out, he saved 11 people. Okay, some people unfortunately died, but they would have all died if they hadn't got them out of there pretty damn quickly. However, he is washed up and disillusioned, and he's cast aside. Meanwhile, there's a new underwater platform that's carrying out underwater exploration at the behest of its billionaire owner, played by Rainn Wilson, who is, I suppose, the film's closest the film comes to a baddie, sort of comic relief at first, but he's the one who sort of makes the situation a bit worse as the film goes along. An expedition from this new exploratory team is trapped underwater. Inevitably, the pilot of the ship is Jonas's ex-wife. It's trapped thousands of 6,000 feet below the surface. There are some sort of unfortunate echoes, I suppose, to that recent tragedy with the expedition down to the Titanic last month. But of course, that's sort of inadvertent by the fact that I'm watching the film now. Nobody can get down there. The only person who can rescue them, the only person experienced that is Jonas. But Jonas is washed up. He's living in Thailand. He's a drunk. This means you see him carrying a bottle of beer now and again. He's not anybody's perception of a drunk. Certainly 5 years after he's been sacked, he doesn't look like somebody who spent his life drinking. Let's just say that. He's six-pack Jason Statham, and he looks fit. ultimately he's persuaded to go down and try to rescue the people trapped underneath, because they've been trapped by the thing that's attacked them. Yeah, I didn't mention that, I don't think. The new expedition goes down and is attacked by something monstrous up there, which proves that, hey, Jonas was right all along. So Jonas is coaxed out of retirement to go down and rescue them. And there's quite an amusing scene, bearing in mind he's supposed to be a washed up old drunk. It doesn't look that way. He gets a medical before he goes down, and he's in perfect condition, which he would be if he'd been drinking for 5 years. But anyway, that's by the by. Anyway, he goes down, he rescues them, blah, blah, blah. But there is a megalodon, a prehistoric dinosaur shark, which has escaped from this thermal vent. It doesn't actually explain how he saw it 5 years before, but that's a little plot hole. And then the story rattles along in this adventurous fashion with this creature rampaging through the ocean, a team from the platform firstly trying to trap it, then trying to kill it, and it all spirals out of control. There's some great action set pieces. As I said, the underwater filming is great, the CGI is really good, seamless in fact, and it's very exciting, very tense. I mean, yes, you know which character's going to survive, you know which character's going to die, and they do. It's not overly bloodthirsty, to be honest, because it's a 12 certificate, fit for viewing by persons of 12 years or more. So yeah, it's sort of tame in terms of value. You don't see sort of gushes of blood but you see people swallowed and people, are killed by these things in a tame, family-friendly way, I suppose. But I really enjoyed it. I thought it was, maybe it's Friday, I've had a busy couple of weeks. I've got a couple of quiet weeks coming up, which is nice, so I'm going to catch up with lots of stuff. And it was just a nice film to chill out with in the morning with a coffee in the cinema room. And I just enjoyed it for what it was. And nobody's going to say it's an Oscar winner, because it didn't win any Oscars. Nobody's going to put it up there with the great films of all time. It's no Jaws. But it's Jaws on steroids in a way, because the shark is 10 times bigger. There is a scene at the end where the shark attacks, I think it's Sanya Beach, and attacks a lot of people. But again, I don't think anybody's actually killed. It just causes chaos before it's lured away. So it's action-packed. It's one of those films, it takes 30, 40 minutes before you see the shark properly, because you're building up the characters and building up the situation and the backstory. And it's all, it's all by numbers, I suppose, in terms of those characters and their relationships. Of course, Jonas starts having a bit of an attraction to the Chinese scientist, and she's got a young daughter, and it's slightly twee from that point of view, but it just ticks all those cliches, I suppose, that you expect in these sort of films. And I didn't find it offensive because of that. You sort of want those sort of things. There's something warm and reassuring about a film that just does this sort of stuff, and it does it really, really well. Jason Statham, then, is your lead man. I mean, I've never been a big fan of Jason Statham. I think he's good at what he does, punching people, because he punches sharks in this, and he's a good action hero, but he's not a good actor. And I think you can see the problems there. When he's surly and like gruff and saying all the tough stuff. But when he's called upon to do more human stuff, like to be humorous or to be a romantic lead, it don't work, because he can't bring that across. And he looks slightly self-conscious doing it. And I have to say, I find his sort of gruff sort of London accent doesn't help his performance. But he's perfectly serviceable. He's a decent hero figure in this. And he sort of acquits himself fairly well. But I say there are dodgy moments then when you try to make him a bit more human rather than a man-machine. And that's a sort of slight by-the-by criticism, really. In terms of the supporting cast, Li Bingbing is very good as the Chinese scientist stroke love interest. Rainn Wilson is good. Ruby Rose, who went on from this to become Batwoman for a short period, perfectly serviceable. The acting is all, for what it needs to be. So it's a good film. I just enjoyed it. And it has set me up to see Meg 2, The Trench. Now, I would expect that to be better, because it's directed by a director whose work I'm quite keen on, Ben Wheatley. I haven't seen all his films, but the ones I've seen and the stuff that he's done, and he's directed a couple of Doctor Who episodes, he's a very good director. It'll be interesting to see how he fares in Hollywood with a $200 million budget. Now, the early reviews for Meg 2, they ain't been good. So, I wonder. But anyway, I'm seeing that hopefully on the weekend on Monday, so there will be a review of that coming up soon. But for now, I'm going to give the original Meg, I'm going to give it... It's difficult, because it's one of those films I'm rating in terms of how much I enjoyed it. And I'm going to give it 8 out of 10 because I had a good time with it. It's popcorn fun, and I think if you've not seen it, I would recommend you catch up with it before seeing the new one. Incidentally, when I watched it, I've got the 4K disc. I thought, it's going to look great in the cinema room. So I put the disc in and watched it, and I thought, this is a really good picture. And when I took it out now, I discovered that I'd accidentally watched the Blu-ray. I put it in, I think I turned the lights down, so I just pulled the disc out. I'd forgotten there was the Blu-ray as well in there. And yeah, I found myself watching the Blu-ray. So I still haven't watched the 4K version. So be very careful if you've got it on disc that you put the right disc in. But it looked fine, it looked great. I mean, I was watching it and thinking, the colours so sharp and the skin tones and everything. That was on Blu-ray, so I'm sure it'll look even better on 4K. So that's The Meg, which is available obviously on 4K. I think there's a new 4K version which has just come out. I think it's because this film has got a lot of Chinese financing in it, which is why it's sort of a lot of Chinese cast, and it's a lot of that sort of those sort of cultural influences in the film. And there's a new Blu-ray 4K version available in HMV, I think, which has got a sort of Chinese lettering on the casing, but I'm perfectly happy with the one I've got. Anyway, I'm rambling a bit. So yeah, I enjoyed it. Poo to you if you don't. I'm looking forward to seeing Meg 2. As I said, it's had bad reviews, but I will see it, thinking Monday, and I will put up a review as soon as I can. Right, thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you have, yeah, if you've stumbled across this video looking for Meg 2 reviews and you found this, oops, sorry. But do like and subscribe if you've enjoyed this. Like and subscribe. Leave a comment as well. It's always nice to hear from you. And tell your friends, even better, because my subscriber numbers are wee. I get 2 more, and then I lose a few, and then I get a few more. So yeah, keep watching the stuff. I'll see you soon.